All right, I think we're live. We are. All right, welcome back. Let's try round two, yeah? This camera is testing me this evening. All right, welcome back. Round two. Identify you. So I just made the decision I'd start again. Yeah. I'm about half an hour late. Tech issues. Camera decided to crash, whatever. I'm still here. I haven't given up. And that's the determination that I give. So identify you. Have you ever been involved in communities along your journey as a man and you just blended in? When in fact, you were born to stand out, as the mantra goes, not just fit in. What I mean by that, and for the newer men, I'll get to you in a minute. The experienced men that I've known around circles will get this a lot quicker. Within our communities that we go in and out, different communities, we tend to blend in, but really we need to be standing out in our own unique way. I've found on my journey in the last 5 years, my big dip, crash and up, that I've followed the unique modeling of find your purpose, find your mission, find your craft, etc. However, I've blended into my community just as another man. And this is where the societal expectations of what is a man tend to kick in. So tonight, it's not about identifying what a man is. It's about identifying your 5 top values or your blueprint that makes you, me, up, or your own unique individuality, as we are all born unique and different. We are not meant to be the same. So let's get into it. But what is a value? All right, behaving itself, good stuff. Core values. So what are they? They're enduring beliefs upon a person that can act. Right? They have emotional connection, regardless that's positive or negative. Someone with positive value traits will have positive behavioral outcomes. Someone with negative value traits will have negative behavior outcomes. Okay. That's core values in a nutshell. The difference between values and beliefs, we tend to get these crossed over. They are similar in some sort of ways, except the differentiating point between a value and a belief is beliefs change over time. Well, our values are concrete and they very, very rarely change unless something drastic happens. We'll change a political party quicker than we'll change a core value inside. Okay. We may jump ships in some sort of religion a lot quicker from a belief perspective rather than sacrifice our integrity. There's also a pain and pleasure resolve in there too. We'll always move away from pain towards pleasure while holding our values at the same time. So if there's a negative value that has attempts to have a negative impact on us, we'll always jump the opposite way to a positive impact on our own internal value. Values last longer than beliefs. And this is taken from Lawfer et al. Originally in 2008 and updated again in 2018. Beliefs change, values remain in simple context. Okay. Once again, this is my PowerPoint in the meantime. Now, there's different types of values. There's our instrumental values, which are desirable ways to act. For example, honesty. Well, I hope we've got honesty in our value system. Responsibility, and we're loving, we're caring, etc. There are action sort of values. On the other side, we've got terminal. And that's simply for desirable end states. So, as a man, if I'm looking at the bottom of my mountain, what's the top of my mountain going to look like? What's the end state there? It could either be health, freedom, family, security, financial security, financial freedom. There's always the end states. And this is taken from Gibson, 2009, again updated in 2019. Values are tightly linked. And whatever we value on, we action with consistency. Whatever our values are linked, we act with consistency. We don't act with inconsistency because it's not consistent with our value systems. Some really interesting studies around core values. 3 sets of studies taken by Mao, Chong et al., 2009, and again revisited in 2019. So the first study is they shifted values into behavior and primed it with self-direction values. So directional values, okay, which had a result of increased curiosity on the participants. Study number 2 was they took values and they shifted the behavior and they primed with achievement values, which showed greater, and they had a task, completion of a simple jigsaw puzzle, right? So it showed greater success at completion of a simple 250 word puzzle, okay? They then took values and primed it, flipped it again with the opposite of underachievement or achievement success values, which decreased success on completion and increased helpfulness. So they helped the researchers with information, but got distracted from completing the puzzle. So there's, 3 studies which determined our core values influence our behavior. Okay. We take a step back on our behavior and what we are acting upon, it can be tracked back to what the value behind that is driving that, and in another sense, the belief. So this is a simple tri-circle. So we've got our values up here, we've got our beliefs over here, and we've got our behavior. We must remain centered between the 3. If we have just core values and no behavior, we just have core values, okay, and no action. We simply blend into the crowd, right? Become the sheep, right? I see plenty of men around there that are just sheep, all right? If we just have beliefs and no values, well, we're easily influenced and manipulated, okay? Very, very easily. If we just have behavior without either values or beliefs, then it could go anywhere. Negative, positive, toxic. We just act on pure intuition. So I guess if I can tie this to a story. So on my journey of recovery, finding my own identity was crucial. And yes, I felt I had to become one of the crowd within the different support groups in order to refine myself. Or as Joseph Campbell, Carl Jung, and Freud have all crisscrossed over the belly of the whale. So this is why communities are important. I get back into the belly of whale, I learn, I heal, I refine my balance, and then once I'm ready, I fly, right? Well, I've come to the point in my journey where I've decided to grow my wings and launch myself. And in doing so, found my own identity, refound my identity. Because when we're on this journey called life, we don't find ourselves, we have to lose ourselves in order to find us, right? The personal development sector is all about pushing for, you got to find this, you got to do that. No, you've got to lose yourself, okay? I had to lose my previous identity by going through what I had to go through in order to refine myself. It's like going back and becoming a little boy again and relearning stuff, yeah? Relearning who you are. Relearning what you stand for, if you stand for something. And once I've rediscovered my values, I learned them, I practiced them, and I stand on them. That's pretty much my hill to die on, and I don't change them for nothing, okay? Or nobody. Right? I will not sacrifice my values. They're kind of like the line in the sand, all right? So how do we identify our core values or our blueprint, our identity, what makes us up? I've put together a 5-step process here. Want to write this down, go ahead, the replay's on. You can watch that. So the first step is determine your core values. Just go for a massive brain dump on a bit of paper or on your notepad, on your phone or your tablet or whatever, your device. And just brain dump random words that really resonate to you. Now, I can draw upon a list of about 500 just random values. And the list is endless. Some exercises have 50, others have 500, some have a Refidex of about 5,000 words. And the important key factor is write down what resonates to you and be quick about it. Don't sit on it, just write down. First thing what comes to your head, bang, bang. Honesty, integrity, responsibility, accountability, individuality, lovable. What others? Responsibility, I've already said that. Compassion, right? Empathy, right? Passion. There's some examples there that you can draw upon. Jump on Dr. Google if you need a hand, or comment below. Ask me some questions on that, some words. Now, once you've got a brain dump, this is like journaling, guys. So for the newer men who are in here, don't know what journaling is. It's just a brain dump. Really good for clearing the mind. And I journal every morning. Just randomly brain dump onto paper. Some ideas come out, some work, some don't, whatever. But it's a good way to clear your mind. Take your words and group the similar bonds together into groups. We're sticking with finding your 5 core blueprints here or 5 core values. So go for 5. 5 groups. Okay, that stand out to you, right? Third step is choose words that resonates from each group, or choose one word. One word from each group that stands out to you, that triggers you forwards, right? Highlight it. The next step after this is add a verb. Now we'll get back to basics. Verbs are doing words. Very simple, okay? And then the fifth step is write them in priority from 1 to 5. Okay? So if I use my top values as an example, my 5 core values that make me up, that define me as an individual amongst men, are individuality, right? I live a life outside the box. I'm a rebel. I've always been a rebel. I hold that identity to my heart. Don't stick me in a box or I'll burn it to the ground, right? I don't believe in stereotypes. I believe we're free men, free of prejudice, free of stereotyping. We are free to achieve what we want, right? Individuality, I stand out. I don't follow the crowd. I don't bow to nobody. I have my influences, yes, but I don't worship anyone, okay? No guru shipping. I don't worship. I don't follow. None. I follow my own intuition of what I know what's right, okay? Honesty. Now, my line is be honest over feelings. Now, I can be direct sometimes and it can be painful to some men, but I'd rather be direct to men rather than protect their feelings, okay? Number 3 is integrity. I act with absolute 100% integrity. I don't sacrifice my integrity for nobody. And I'm not a dog, okay? A dog is someone who tells on people. No, that's sacrificing my integrity. I do not tell, okay? I learned that on my journey, right? It's actually one of the first things that ex-inmates come up to me and said, and helps me through that is, you get any favors by the law, don't do it. Don't be labeled a dog. No, don't sacrifice my integrity. Yeah. Compassion. Lead with love and compassion. I lead with love. I've got a greater love to make a difference in the world and being for younger men, particularly in this state of world that we have, right? The state of confusion and trance and societal expectations and pressure and all the garbage that's going on in the world. I want to be an example for other men, okay? And lead with love and compassion. Love a man where he's at, no matter how difficult he may be. And the 5th one is, I'm the example for men to follow, yeah? I walk my own drum. So I model that to the younger men. Learn to walk your own drum, all right? This is about finding your identity, finding you, right? Individuality, life outside the box, right? Write your number 1 value down, right? First, whatever comes up in this camera. There we go. Software updates. Write your number 1 value, highlight it, really breathe into it. Okay. Breathe into that value, whatever that number 1 is. It could be honesty, it could be integrity, accountability, whatever that is. Hey, comment below for me what your number 1 core value is. And how, I was going to say stubborn. How much do you believe in that value? If you sit with that, breathe into it, lean into it. Individuality is my number 1 value. I will not sacrifice that for nobody. All right? Nobody. I've had numerous amounts of men over the years approach me. Craig, don't say that. Don't say this. Don't do that. Don't do this. You're drifting away from the crowd. You know what they call this? There's a metaphor that I'll use. It's called crab in the bucket syndrome. Right? We get involved in these communities and it becomes like a big bucket. I don't care which way they're going. I've seen it everywhere on my journey, from entrepreneurs to salespeople to spiritual to men's groups to everywhere. We all become so common that we become crabs in the bucket. And then when somebody says something or does something differently, he's deemed as escaping out of that bucket, and all the other crabs jump on him and pull him down. Oh, no, that doesn't work. Follow this. Not that there's nothing wrong with that, or there may be something wrong, depends on the outcome or the end result. But following, not giving another man a chance to follow his own drum. Who am I to say what works or doesn't work to another man? That's me projecting my values onto another man. That's not what I do. I'm not a man's father. I'm not a man's police officer. I'm not a man's mother. I'm not a man's guide. I simply stand back and go, okay, well, if you want to make that choice, then by all means. And then after that, we'll gather around, have a cold beverage together, and you can share what you've learned. If it's a positive experience in your life, great. If it's a negative experience in your life, okay, we've got some work to do here. We may have some work to do here, right? This is what coaching's all about, right? Or transformational education, whichever way you want to put it, right? I help men find their individuality. There's too many sheep out there and too many wannabes. Bit of a history lesson, because I love to read my history. The best thing about South American revolutionaries, Lampião, Zumbi, Che Guevara, who else you got? Zapastos. They revolted. They were all individuals, right? Zapastos helped the African slaves revolt against the Brazilians. He's one of the generals, I think, in the revolution, right? Lampião and his gang, 12, he stole from the rich and gave to the poor, right? Robin Hood. They eventually caught him and beheaded him and his gang, but it took a while. And Zumbi was folklore, leader of the slaves, free the slaves, revolution, right? They were all individuals, and I use those as a metaphor to stand out. I'm not interested in becoming another protege of a follower to blend in with the crowd. I'm interested in becoming me and teaching other men on how to become themselves so they can give themselves a second chance at whatever their life is. Okay? The epitome of a second chance is getting up and trying again, walking a different path. It may be blending in the crowd to overcome whatever needs to be and for support. Because we as men, we need community. I get that. However, internally, with our value system, we need our core values, our blueprint, our identity to become the individuals that we need to be as men. And I speak that passionately. So which are you? Are you a sheep that blindly follows the leader off a cliff? Or are you someone who stands up and challenges, sets his own agendas, right? Has that number one value, core value? It may be individuality. If individuality is an interest, then great. We are deeply aligned. If not, great. I'm here to model, okay? And if I could sort of finish off with a story, back in my teen days, I always see myself a bit of a social outcast, a bit of a misfit. I observed things. I tried the whole social norms of experimentation, getting in drugs and alcohol and cigarettes and whatever else. But I was always the kid who observed things differently, looked through a different lens, approached stuff on a different drum. Yes, I got into the heavy metal scene. I still am very much in the heavy metal scene. I got myself re-involved in the metal scene because I walked away and put this mask on for many, many years. Oh, I'm a business person, entrepreneur, whatever. I don't listen to that sort of stuff. I don't associate with those people. I'm some sort of stuck-up dickhead who only hangs around with rich people, right? That was the mask I wore for many, many, many years. Once I got in this self-development industry, right? How wrong was I? How wrong was I? I've met some of the greatest business people going to metal concerts, better than what I've met at networking elixirs, who have dropped their ego, who you can relate to quite easily because they're out in their favorite band shirts and their metal jackets, and we all get along and have a good time and develop some of the most strongest friendships that I've ever had. And it's all because of redefining myself as that individual, as that rebel inside. And I had to lose myself over the course of my journey, going through the justice system and getting charged twice and getting put through the media, excuse me, and going on that journey of redemption. That healing, to heal myself, to reclaim my essence. There's a great mythological story out there for you younger men out there. It's called Iron John. I suggest you get a hold of it and have a read of it. It's really about finding your essence, finding your power, finding who you are in this world. It's about a little boy who gets challenged in the mythological times of kings and queens and monarchs and jesters and all that sort of era, where he's got to find his essence. The ball is his essence. And he gets challenged to go and steal a key, to challenge the norm, to go free the wild man in order to get his ball back. The ball goes in the wild man's cage. And so eventually he cowers for a while, and then he accepts the challenge and sneaks in and steals the key and unlocks the wild man. And the wild man takes him on the wild adventures, and he becomes the prince and so forth and so forth. I won't give too much away, but he reclaims his power. He takes his power, his essence. I suggest you get a copy of that online and really get that in your bones, man, because that's the crux of finding yourself, finding your essence, finding your blueprint, your values, who you are on this earth as a man, not just a slave to go out there and work your ass off to provide for your family. No, greater than that, greater than a responsible father, although that's important for 2 kids and a wife back home. Greater than that, greater than being a responsible man, and responsibility is an important value to your mortgage repayments or to your car repayments. Something greater, something that is to develop an off the planet purpose with your own values off this planet. And I don't talk just with goals or, I want to make $1 million or $250,000 or whatever. I'm talking something great, something that you can leave a legacy for your children and their children and their children. Legacy material, something that's not really taught in this world these days. Legacy comes from identified values. Identified values is the blueprint that makes us up as individuals. All right, I'll finish there this evening. If there's any questions or comments, I'll hang around for a few minutes and then we'll go. Technology has been an absolute challenge tonight. But yes, our values is what makes us up. Drive that home. And for the younger man, watch this over and over. Take lots of notes with your pen and paper, device, tablet, however you take notes. Like, comment below, reach out to me directly if you want to discover this more in depth. I've got a whole 1 hour session that I could work with you one-on-one to help you discover these core values. and a Refidex or a database of well and truly over 5,000 different values that you could pick from. Work with you one-on-one over the phone, over Zoom, or in person if you're local to my area. We can identify your 5 top values and then really step into them and then work out your number one value that makes you for you. Of course, your top 5, and then really lean into that. Because as men, we need to fully believe who we are as men. Belief, internal belief, external action. Internal belief. I stand on my hill that I'm prepared to die on. That's the mentality, and that comes from having values of individuality, responsibility, accountability, etc., compassion, and making a difference, because we need more men out there making a difference, more positive role models. The academics are going off their heads with data about our societal problems. They're there, they're present, they're not going away. And if we as men don't learn to heal ourselves first, to have an impact on our own lives and our own world, then how can we have an impact on the greater community? That's a great question. Redefine your values, or define them, men. Define your individuality. Be that rebel. Become that individual. Become you. You know, studying different marginalized groups out there always has fascinated me. You know, not just the mainstream, but the margins. I go to the margins. I look at the straight edge, you know, the punks, the skins, even the LGBT plus community, refugees, migrants, certain cultural minorities. They always interest me. They always have interested me. The metal and punk scene, there's a lot of marginalization in there because we're different. We might have a mohawk or wear a shirt that shocks someone who's not used to heavy music or extreme music, as I'll put it directly. Maybe some kid might turn up to school with a pentagram on his shirt and set off a whole trigger effect of religious fanatics or religious people, you know, or actually, no, I'll say it how it is. In my world, in the heavy metal world, getting around wearing some of the most obscene and most offensive shirts you could ever find, just to trigger people. That was my world when I was younger, because that was the scene, you know, not following the mainstream, but following your own path. This is me. This is who I am. This is what I belong to. I'm not following your path. I don't want to follow your religion, your faith. I want to become me. I don't want to follow you because I don't want to end up like you. I want to become me. These kind of groups they've interested me because they've pushed the margin. They're pushed to the margins, and there's such a minority that they do their own thing. They have to do their own thing to survive. Revolutionaries, right? They're another one who interests me because they've learned to do their own things. And you think, such small revolutionaries, I mean, these people have overturned countries, right? Overthrown countries, led people. Doesn't matter what, you know, if their values didn't end up positive or negative down the track, it's who they stood for, their identity, their individuality, right? Martin Luther King stood for something, you know. He made such an impact. Perfect example of an individual. All right, guys, I'll leave it there. It's been 30 or so minutes. Hey, like, comment, leave us some feedback. Want to work with me one-on-one, comment, yes, please, below, and we'll get some conversations going. Anyways, guys, I've got to go. I've got to have some dinner and cool off. Let's get to it, eh? Find your identity, men. Find who you are as a man. The world needs you to step up. The world needs men with a backbone, with a heart. Yes, we need truck drivers and couriers and whatever else, but they're disposable. We need men to step up and go, right, we're men, we're leading from the front, we're going to make a difference in this world. Let's do this. You can do this. See you next time.